The cell was designed for efficiency, not comfort. Smooth alloy walls curved inward just enough to remind anyone inside that personal space was a luxury no longer available. The energy restraints hummed softly around both prisoners' wrists, close enough that when one shifted, the other felt it. That alone irritated the human. He hated forced proximity. He hated silence more. The alien beside him didn't seem bothered at all. She was Vulpine, tall, lean, copper-furred, with ears that twitched at every distant sound. A warrior, clearly. Even captured, she carried herself like the situation was temporary, an inconvenience she had scheduled time to resolve. The human, meanwhile, was running mental commentary at full volume, trying not to stare and failing badly. "Relax," she said quietly, eyes forward. "You fidget like prey." "Hard not to," he muttered. "First day in an alien dungeon. I was hoping for a welcome pamphlet." Her mouth curved slightly. "Humor. A stress response. Yeah, well, so is overthinking. And I'm world-class at it." She studied the restraints, the walls, the ceiling. Tactical assessment. Then she leaned closer, not dramatically, just enough that her voice dropped and her breath brushed his ear. "Listen carefully," she murmured. "If you help me escape, I will marry you." His brain stopped. Fully. Like someone had yanked the power core. "I'm sorry," he said after a beat. "You'll what?" "Marry you," she repeated, tone flat, factual, like she'd offered payment in rations. "It is a fair exchange." 1,000 thoughts collided in his head, none of them useful. Captured. Alien prison. Imminent death, probably. And now, marriage? He glanced at her, searching for sarcasm, menace, some alien equivalent of a prank. He found none. Just calm certainty. "That's wow," he said. "You aliens really don't waste time, huh?" "We are wasting time right now," she replied. "That is why I whispered." He swallowed. "Just to be clear, when you say marry, you mean a binding survival contract," she said. "Temporary. Mutually beneficial. You assist in my extraction, I formally bind myself to you until we reach safety." "Oh," he said, nodding. Then, a half-second later, "Oh. Temporary. Contract. Bind." His brain latched on to different words entirely. Bind. Together. Reach safety. He'd heard those before. Usually followed by vows, tax forms, and emotional baggage. "So," he said slowly, "this is kind of a big step, don't you think?" She blinked. "Is it? Well, I mean, we just met." "Yes." "And we're, captured." "Yes." "And you're already talking about commitment." She tilted her head. "Commitment is the point." That word landed hard. Commitment. He exhaled, rubbing his face against his shoulder as far as the restraints allowed. This was not how he'd imagined first contact. Or second. Or third. Honestly, he hadn't imagined any contact ending with matrimony. "You don't even know my name," he said. "I do not require it for the contract." "Right. Of course you don't." She watched him with mild curiosity now, ears angling forward. "You are reacting as though I proposed an emotional bond." "Well, didn't you?" "No. But you said marry." "Yes. In my culture," he said carefully, "marriage is not temporary." Her ears twitched again. "Then your culture has poor exit clauses." He snorted despite himself. "You have no idea." She leaned back slightly, considering him the way one might examine unfamiliar equipment. "Explain." He hesitated. This was ridiculous. He was explaining human marriage to a fox alien in a prison cell. Still, something about her directness pulled the words out of him. "It's not just about survival," he said. "It's long-term. Shared home. Shared future. You don't just bind bodies, you bind lives." She stared at him. Actually stared. "That sounds wildly inefficient," she said. "Tell me about it." Silence stretched. Somewhere beyond the walls, something metallic clanged. Guards, probably. He felt the faint buzz of the restraints again, and became acutely aware of how close they were. Shoulder to shoulder. Bound together by circumstance already. She spoke again, quieter. In my people's tongue, the word you translate as marry is closer to claim as partner for survival. Claim, he repeated. His mouth went dry. Partner. Yes. See, that's the problem, he said. Those words don't mean small things to us. They do to us. Figures. She sighed, a soft sound. Human. I am offering you protection, status, and shared resources. Food. Shelter. Mutual defense. He raised an eyebrow. You're really selling it. It is an excellent deal. It was. That was the worst part. His instincts, those stupid, hopeful human instincts, were already rewriting the pitch. Shared resources became shared meals. Shelter became home. Mutual defense became someone having his back. Always. And after? He asked. After the danger passes, the contract dissolves. Cleanly? Yes. No awkward conversations? No. No, it's not you, it's me? I do not know what that is. Lucky you? She studied him again. Your hesitation is illogical. You require assistance to escape as well. I know, he said. I just didn't expect to negotiate my love life today. This is not your love life. Agree to disagree. Her tail flicked, a subtle sign of impatience. Time is limited. Will you accept the bond or not? Bond. Another loaded word. He laughed softly, the sound echoing strangely in the cell. You aliens, he said, shaking his head. You really don't get humans. Correct. We get attached, he went on. Fast. Especially under pressure. You tell a human we survive together, and we here forever. That is inaccurate, she said. Yeah, he replied. But it's also kind of our thing. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, despite this flaw, your species survives. Out of pure stubbornness. Another pause. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled, just a little. Very well, human. Clarification, this bond is temporary. No expectation beyond survival. He met her gaze. And if I help you anyway? Then you are honorable. And if I take the word seriously? Then you are human. The restraints hummed again. Somewhere, a guard laughed. He exhaled. All right, he said. Let's say I help you. Let's say we partner up. She nodded. Accepted. Just one thing. Yes? When you say bind, partner, and claim, maybe don't whisper it like that. Why? Because you're giving me very mixed signals. Her ears flicked, confused, but not displeased. She didn't respond to his last comment immediately. Instead, she shifted her wrists, testing the restraints again, muscles tightening beneath her fur. The movement drew his attention despite his best efforts. He told himself it was tactical interest. His brain did not agree. Mixed signals are inefficient, she said at last. Clarity improves survival. Humans thrive on confusion, he replied. It's how we bond. That explains much. She leaned closer again, not whispering this time, just speaking low enough to avoid the ever-present censors. We should align expectations before proceeding. He nodded quickly. Yes. Absolutely. Expectations. Very healthy. In my culture, she began, a marriage bond lasts until the threat is neutralized. Resources are shared. Bodies cooperate. Decisions are joint. He froze on the word bodies. Cooperate, how? She glanced at him, brow furrowing. Functionally. Define functional. Movement coordination. Load bearing. Endurance. Oh, he said. That's less romantic than it sounded. Romantic? Never mind. She continued unfazed. There is no ownership beyond necessity. No exclusivity beyond the mission. No future obligations. He winced. You really know how to take the magic out of things. There is no magic, she said. Only survival. See, that's where we differ, he said. Humans find magic everywhere. Especially when things get bad. That is a weakness. Or a feature. She tilted her head. Explain. When everything's falling apart, he said, we start imagining what comes after. Home. Stability. Someone to share it with. It keeps us moving. She processed this, ears angling back slightly. You imagine after while still inside danger. Constantly. That seems distracting. It is. But it works. She studied him again, longer this time, as if reassessing his value not as a tool, but as a concept. Then when I said Mary, what did you imagine? He hesitated. This was not a question he'd expected to answer out loud. Especially not here. Especially not to her. Rings, he admitted. Arguments about where to live. Shared meals. Someone stealing the blankets. Her ears flicked. You assign great significance to textiles. It's symbolic. She exhaled slowly. In my culture, a shared sleeping space simply conserves heat. Yeah, he said softly. That too. Silence stretched again, thicker now. Not awkward exactly, but charged in a way he didn't fully understand. She broke it by tugging once more at the restraints. These bonds weaken during guard rotations, she said. That is when we move. Together, he said without thinking. Yes, she replied. Together. There it was again. That word. He felt it settle in his chest, warm and dangerous. So, he said, trying to sound casual, when you say you'll claim me as your partner. I did not say that. You implied it. I said I would bind myself to you. Which sounds a lot like claiming. In my language, it is closer to temporarily assign. Wow. You really know how to make a guy feel special. She blinked. You desire to feel special? Most humans do. That seems inefficient. Welcome to Earth. She considered this, then nodded. Very well. You are adequately assigned. He laughed, sharp and surprised. You're killing me. Not yet. Another clang echoed outside. Voices passed. The hum of the restraints dipped slightly, just as she'd predicted. No, she murmured. Focus. You will need to pull when I signal. Pull, he repeated. Right. Firmly. Of course. She glanced at him again. Do not hesitate. I never do, he said, then paused. Okay, I do. But emotionally, not physically. I do not understand the distinction. Trust me. They waited. Seconds stretched. He became painfully aware of how close they were again, how their arms brushed, how the word partner kept echoing in his head. Temporary or not, his brain was already filing her under something dangerously close to mine. Her tail flicked once. Now. He pulled. Hard. The restraint sparked, whining in protest. She grunted, muscles tensing as she twisted in perfect sync with him. The bond loosened, just enough. Again, she said. Together, he replied. They pulled. This time the restraint snapped open, energy dissipating in a harmless flash. He laughed, breathless. See? Great teamwork. We're naturals. Yes, she said. Our cooperation is effective. High compatibility, he added. She paused. Compatibility is not a factor. It is for humans. She shook her head slightly. You attach meaning where none is required. And you ignore meaning where it's screaming at you. They freed her other restraint than his. Freedom felt unreal. He flexed his hands, adrenaline surging. We did it, he said. You and me. Yes, she agreed. The bond has already proven useful. There it was again. Bond. So, he said carefully, just to circle back, This marriage thing. She looked at him, eyes sharp. You are still concerned. Just aligning expectations, he said, echoing her earlier words. She considered. The contract remains in effect until safety is achieved. And after? After we part. He nodded slowly. Clean break. Yes. No lingering feelings. Feelings are irrelevant. He smiled faintly. You keep saying that. And you keep doubting it. Because humans don't do temporary very well, he said. We hear partner and start rearranging our lives. That sounds dangerous. It is, he admitted. But it's also why we survive. She watched him for a long moment, then turned toward the corridor. Come, human. Your overcommitment may yet prove useful. He followed, heart pounding, thinking that for something supposedly temporary, it already felt like more than a contract. The corridor was narrower than he expected, forcing them to stay close as they moved. She advanced with quiet confidence, every step measured. He followed half a pace behind, trying very hard not to read meaning into the proximity, and failing completely. Stay near, she said softly. If you fall behind, we lose synchronization. Trust me, he replied. I'm very motivated to stay close. She glanced back. Motivation improves performance. That's what I've been saying. They reached an intersection and paused. She crouched, examining a panel embedded in the wall. Security node, she murmured. I will need support. Emotionally or physically? He asked. She looked at him. Physically. Right. Of course. He braced himself behind her as instructed, hands hovering near her shoulders. Just tell me where to put my hands. Firmly, she said. Do not waver. Wow, he muttered. You really don't hear it, do you? Hear what? Never mind. She pressed into the panel. It resisted. No, she said. Apply pressure. He did, carefully at first, then harder when she nodded. The mechanism slid open with a hiss. Good, she said. You respond well to direction. That's reassuring. They moved again, faster now. Alarms hadn't sounded yet, but he felt the tension building, like the universe holding its breath. She kept issuing instructions in that same precise tone, each one a potential landmine for his imagination. Keep your grip steady. Don't rush. Wait for my signal. Finish only when I say. Every phrase hit him sideways. He complied anyway, because survival trumped embarrassment. Mostly. You humans are strange, she said as they slipped through another barrier. Because we follow instructions? No. Because you look pleased while doing so. I'm coping, he said. It's a technique. They ducked into a maintenance passage, pausing just long enough for her to listen. Guards approaching. We must remain still. They pressed into the wall together, bodies close, breathing shallow. He could feel the warmth of her through the thin fabric of his clothing. His brain chose that moment to be extremely unhelpful. This is part of the bond too, he whispered. This is concealment, she replied. Right. Just checking. Footsteps passed. Voices muttered in a language he didn't recognize. When the sound faded, she relaxed slightly. You did not panic, she said. That is good. I panic internally, he replied. Very efficiently. She turned to him. Your internal state does not hinder your actions. High praise. They resumed moving. The route grew more complex, ladders and narrow platforms forcing coordination. At one point she extended a hand to help him across a gap. Take hold, she said. He did, fingers closing around her wrist. You know, he said. In my culture, this is usually when someone says something dramatic. Such as? I've got you, he said. She tightened her grip. I do. The words landed harder than she intended. He cleared his throat and stepped across, releasing her once he was steady. Careful, she said. Do not let go too early. I wouldn't dream of it. They climbed again, emerging into a larger passage lined with conduits. She stopped, scanning ahead. "This is the final obstacle," she said. "Once through, we reach external access." "Then what?" he asked. "Then the bond concludes upon reaching safety." He nodded, though something twisted in his chest. "Clean ending." "Yes. No strings." "Strings are unnecessary. Humans love strings," he said. "We trip over them constantly." She crouched, preparing to disable the last barrier. "When I begin, you must maintain pressure continuously. If you stop, the system resets." "Maintain pressure," he repeated. "Got it. Do not pull away." "Crystal clear." She started working. The panel resisted more fiercely this time, energy surging through it. She grunted, muscles straining. "No," she said. "Hold." He pressed in, bracing his weight. Seconds stretched. Sweat beaded on his forehead. "Don't stop," she said. "I'm not," he replied through clenched teeth. "Keep going." "I am. This will take time." "I can last," he said, then immediately regretted his choice of words. She shot him a look. "Focus." "I am focused." "Extremely." The panel whined, then disengaged with a sharp snap. She staggered slightly, catching herself against him. For a moment, they were fully pressed together. "Stability achieved," she said, stepping back. He exhaled. "You okay?" "Yes." "The cooperation was effective." "There's that word again." "Cooperation?" "No. Effective." She didn't respond, already moving toward the exit. Cold air rushed in as the hatch opened, stars visible beyond. "Freedom," he said quietly. "Yes," she agreed. "We have succeeded." They stepped out onto the platform, alarms finally blaring behind them. She triggered a beacon, scanning the sky. "Extraction will arrive shortly," she said. He nodded, adrenaline fading, replaced by something softer and more complicated. "So this is it." "This is safety," she replied. "And the bond?" She hesitated. "Just a fraction of a second. It remains until we depart this location." "So, still together," he said. "Yes," she said, then added, "for now." They stood side by side, waiting. Wind tugged at their clothing. He glanced at her, noticing the faint scuff marks on her armor, the steady rise and fall of her breathing. "You know," he said, "for something temporary, this was pretty intense." "Intensity is a function of risk," she replied. "Humans tend to confuse intensity with meaning. That is becoming apparent." He smiled faintly. "You don't seem entirely opposed." She considered. "Your species' overcommitment increased your performance. That is noteworthy. I'll take that." Lights appeared in the distance. She straightened. "Our path diverges after extraction." "Clean break," he said again. "Yes." He nodded, then added, "You ever think about trying a longer contract?" She looked at him, ears flicking. "That would be inefficient. Humans aren't big on efficiency. I have noticed." The ship descended, engines roaring. As it touched down, she glanced at him one last time. "You kept your word," she said. "You saved me." "You offered a pretty compelling incentive," he replied. Her mouth curved slightly. "Careful, human. You may yet misunderstand me again." He smiled back. "I'm counting on it." The engine settled into a low, steady hum, the kind that signaled distance from danger rather than its approach. He felt it in his bones before his mind caught up, relief, heavy and disorienting. They stood near each other by habit now, close enough that their shoulders almost touched, close enough that it felt deliberate even if either said so. "Extraction successful," she said, checking the console. "We are beyond pursuit range." "So," he replied, hands on his hips, trying to sound casual and missing by a mile. "This counts as safe, right?" "Yes." "Fully safe?" "Yes." "No immediate threats?" "No guards?" "No alarms?" "Correct." He nodded slowly. Then, congratulations. We survived. We fulfilled the contract, she said. There it was. Contract. The word hit with a dull thud. Fulfilled, he repeated. Past tense. Yes. The marriage bond concludes here. He blinked. Concludes? She turned to face him, posture relaxed, businesslike. Our obligations to one another are complete. You may now pursue your independent survival. Independent. That was new. Oh, he said. Just like that. Yes. No debrief? No discussion about next steps? There are no next steps, she replied. Only separation. He laughed once, short and surprised. Wow. You really don't ease into things. Efficiency favors clean transitions. Humans favor closure. She frowned slightly. Define closure. Talking, he said. Processing. Arguing about what things meant. Meaning was established at the outset. Established differently, he countered. You said marry? You didn't say temporary work contract with an expiration date. I clarified. After my brain had already built a house with a porch. She tilted her head. A house? Metaphor. Ah. He paced a step, then stopped, realizing how ridiculous he must look. Look, I know this was survival for you. And for me. But words matter to humans. They mattered to you during the escape, she said. They increased your effectiveness. Yeah, he admitted. That's kind of the problem. You motivated me by accident. Accidentally motivating an ally is acceptable. You didn't just motivate me, he said. You activated every emotional subsystem I have. She considered that. That seems hazardous. It is, he said. But it's also how we do things. She crossed her arms. Then your culture would benefit from clearer terminology. Or yours would benefit from a warning label. She huffed a brief, amused sound. Human. You survived. You performed admirably. What more do you require? He hesitated. This was the part he hadn't rehearsed. Acknowledgement, he said finally. That it wasn't just logistics to me. It was logistics, she replied. I know, he said. But it wasn't only that. Silence stretched between them, less charged now, more fragile. She broke it, voice softer. You humans attach significance where none is intended, she said. Yet that attachment appears to strengthen you. Sometimes, he said. Sometimes it just hurts. She studied him in a way she hadn't before, not assessing his utility, but his state. Pain indicates loss. Or the expectation of it. She nodded slowly. Then perhaps a brief clarification is warranted. I'd appreciate that. She straightened. The bond was temporary by design. However, your interpretation of it did not hinder the mission. It enhanced it. That's not exactly comforting. It is meant to be factual. Try again, he said gently. She paused, searching for words that weren't in her usual arsenal. Your commitment was impressive. He smiled faintly. There it is. In my culture, she continued, such intensity is rare. We conserve attachment. We overspend it. Yes, she said. Yet you remain solvent. He chuckled. Barely. She stepped closer, lowering her voice despite there being no need. If this were my people, you would be commended. For what? Emotional recklessness? For treating a contract as something more. His breath caught slightly. That almost sounds like a compliment. It is. He let that settle. So, he said, no extension on the bond? She hesitated. Just a beat. Enough to matter. An extension would require renegotiation, she said. Hypothetically. Yes. And renegotiation would imply interest? It would imply reassessment of terms. Of course it would. She met his gaze. Your kind struggles with hypotheticals. We prefer hope. That too. Another pause. The ship's hum filled the space between them. Well, he said, forcing a lighter tone, if you ever need another partner, for survival or otherwise, I'm apparently very responsive to mixed signals. Her mouth curved slightly. I noticed. And if you ever want to see what humans do when the threat is gone, he added, we're very inefficient, but we make it interesting. She considered. I may study that phenomenon. Field research? Perhaps. He laughed. Careful. That's how it starts. She turned toward the exit hatch as it opened. This is where we part. He nodded, throat tight. Clean break. Yes. She stepped out, then paused, glancing back. Human. Yeah? You interpreted my words as a promise. I did. That misunderstanding did not displease me. His heart did a stupid, hopeful thing. You're terrible at clean breaks, you know that? She flicked her ears. I am adapting. She left without another word, disappearing into the bustle beyond the ship. He stood there a moment longer, then exhaled, shaking his head. Temporary, he muttered. Sure. He turned to leave, already knowing that if she ever whispered an offer like that again, he'd misunderstand it the same way. And probably save her again, too.